The Gambia government is set to construct a $100 million five-star hotel ahead of the OIC 2022 summit. South Sudan's government secures more than $100 million loan from IMF to boost the country's economy. And Zimbabwe has imposed a ban on the importation of second-hand cars older than 10 years. Well, these and more coming your way on News Desk. This is South Africa TV. Many thanks for joining us. I am Amadou Kante, and now the news in detail. Now, the Gambia government, in partnership with Imolan Sald, a construction company in Senegal, have signed a construction deal of a $100 million five-star hotel in preparation ahead of the OIC summit in 2022. The tourism minister, however, describes the building of a hotel as the biggest achievement or investment in the tourism sector. Mariama Cham tells us more of that in this report.
The Organization of Islamic Cooperation, OIC, is the second largest intergovernmental organization with a membership of 57 states spread over 4 continents. The OIC organizes the Islamic Summit, which is the largest meeting attended by the rulers and the heads of state and government of its member states. The $100 million five-star hotel is geared towards providing a luxurious accommodation to the guests as one of its main priorities of the OIC Secretariat. Gambia's Tourism and Culture Minister Ahmad Nkeba described the project as the biggest ever investment in the tourism sector.
The amount of money that is to be invested in this project is estimated to be $100 million. And I think that's a significant investment. It will be the biggest investment in the tourism sector by a private partner in the Gambia. Historically, that much I can quote, you can quote me for that. We hope that the project as conceived will be completed as designed and conceived. And indeed, the contractor, I'm happy, he has taken note of the fact that you cannot build a hotel, five-star hotel, less than 18 months. And time is not on their side. The minimum it takes you to build a five-star hotel of this magnitude is 18 to 24 months.
Meanwhile, Abdoulaye Cham, chairman of Imolan Sal Company, gives a brief overview of the hotel and what it entails to do to Senegambians.
I am therefore making the following commitments. My company, Imolan, shall provide 100% of the financing of this five-star hotel. The hotel is expected to be built between 18 and 20 months. The hotel will be the product of excellence, technical and engineering techniques, and will transfer knowledge and capacity to Gambian youth. I will significantly contribute to the local economy and create jobs, especially for the young people of the Gambia and Senegal.
The Gambia is the host for the OIC Summit 2022. As a result, the country benefits from projects ranging from building of first-class roads and world-class conference center to construction of a five-star hotel aimed at making the will-be attending high dignitaries comfortable during their stay for the summit. In that regard, the Vice President of the Republic of the Gambia, Dr. Aissatou Touré, underscored the importance of building a standard hotel that will cater for the heads of state and their delegates as well as boost the country's tourism sector.
It is therefore my government's wish to achieve this objective as well as enhance the tourism potential of the Gambia through the development of first-class tourism facilities, hotels, lodges, and parks through the commercialization of certain operations pertaining to the Gambia's tourism development area. My government intends to achieve this through expansion of the tourist and income-generating potential of the tourism development area under its management by making various public-private partnerships, PPP opportunities, available to appropriate and reputable developers and tourism operators.
6 priority projects have been identified by the Secretariat. They include the Sadauda Karaba Jawara International Conference Center, which was inaugurated in January 2020, road infrastructure, VVIP Airport and Terminal Renovation, King Salman bin Abdul Aziz Hotel, VIP cars, and delegate transportation and security. In 2022, world leaders from 57 countries will descend into the Gambia to take part in the world's second largest international conference. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Mariama Cham.
Preparation ahead of the 2022 OIC summit in Banjul continues. Next to Zimbabwe, because the Zimbabwean government has imposed a ban on the importation of used cars that are more than 10 years. The authorities say the South African country needs new initiatives and policies to tackle the gradual increase in the number of second-hand cars imported into the country in recent years. The new regulation is expected to help resuscitate the local motor industry that has been yearning for the importation of used cars to be regulated. Here's more details of that in this report.
There's been a steady increase in the number of second-hand car dealerships in Zimbabwe in recent years, evidence of growing demand which has been unmet since the collapse of local assembly plants whose units used to dominate the roads here. The majority of vehicles available in the sales yards are more than 10 years old. They will soon be no longer available due to the ban and will rob dealers of their bread and butter.
Most of these imports are usually from 2000 to about 2008, right? That's most of the cars that you get in Zimbabwe right now that people can afford. What's the other option? I mean, we don't have a vibrant car industry in Zimbabwe, and there's no public transport to talk about.
Treasury says that upwards of $1.5 billion was spent on light vehicle imports between 2015 and 2020. It's trying to reduce that amount in order to preserve foreign currency and to help revive the local motor industry, which had been, for years, lobbying for the second-hand imports to be regulated.
Our reaction as an association is that we are in the right direction. We do have an MIDP, which is the Motor Industry Development Policy, which we coined in 2018. In the MIDP, we had not envisaged a total ban, but we had chose to control, first of all, by duty and import CETEX, making them a bit expensive so that we phase them slowly. Whilst that is happening, we were now going to look for MOUs for our industry where people can now assemble the affordable vehicles.
Implementation of the strategy has been stifled by foreign currency shortages. The industry is now hopeful that savings realized from second-hand imports will result in them being allocated more funds so they can get more vehicles rolling off their production plants and onto these roads again.
From that report in Harare, Zimbabwe, to some health news now, because the WHO, the World Health Organization's Director General, Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, said despite decline in overall cases in the months of January and February, concerted efforts are still needed to tackle the virus. Dr. Tedros, while speaking during a press conference in Geneva, said vaccines are not the only solution towards the pandemic, calling for physical measures to be observed. Here's more details of that.
Since the presence of COVID-19 vaccines and a decline in the number of cases in some countries, many people are seeing relaxed COVID-19 precautionary measures. However, speaking at a press conference in Geneva on Monday, the WHO boss Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said collective efforts are still needed to fight against the virus.
This pandemic is a long way from over, but we have many reasons for optimism. The decline in cases and deaths during the first 2 months of the year shows that this virus and its variants can be stopped. With a concerted effort to apply public health measures alongside equitable vaccination, we could bring this pandemic under control in a matter of months.
As many are with the belief that young people cannot contract COVID-19 and as a result did not follow the precautionary measures, Dr. Tedros confirmed that the virus can affect and kill both young and healthy people.
Right now, Intensive care units in many countries are overflowing and people are dying. And it is totally avoidable. In some countries, despite continuing transmission, restaurants and nightclubs are full, markets are open and crowded with few people taking precautions. Some people appear to be taking the approach that if they are relatively young, it doesn't matter if they get COVID-19. This disease is not flu. Young, healthy people have died, and we still don't fully understand the long-term consequences of infection for those who survive.
Meanwhile, the director at WHO's Department of Immunization, Vaccines and Biologicals, Dr. Kate, urged people to take the vaccine in order to reduce transmission and the emergence of new variants.
When in addition to scaling up immunity through vaccination, we reduce transmission, which also reduces the likelihood of having emergence of variants that could escape from vaccine-induced immunity. So this is just, again, a reinforcement that we have so much hope and desire to get on with more regular life as people become vaccinated, but it's actually the opposite. It's the very time when we should be as diligent as ever.
The COVID infections continue to soar throughout the world, with more than 1.2 million confirmed cases. More than 604 million vaccine doses have been administered globally, according to the World Health Organization. As efforts were made to study the origins of the pandemic, the global health body is calling for further studies to determine the actual origin of the virus. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Amindao.
Well, more needs to be done to eliminate, or of course, to defeat the COVID-19 global pandemic, according to the WHO chief. Now, price hikes in basic food commodities continue to persist across the country ahead of the holy month of Ramadan. In an interview with Africa TV on Monday, vendors at Latrikunda Sabiji Market expressed concern over the skyrocketing price hikes as the predominantly Muslim country is set to welcome Ramadan. Here's more details of that in this report.
The Gambia in recent months has experienced daily hikes in the prices of essential commodities such as sugar, rice and vegetables, cooking oil. The situation attracts concern from both sellers and consumers alike. While the consumers blame the traders on the sudden rise of basic commodities, traders and vendors argue that the importers are the ones responsible. To Jalika Mane, a vendor at the Latrikunda market, prices of essential goods are increasing every day. She added that many people see the month of Ramadan as an opportunity to make more profit.
This 1 month of fasting, people think they can enrich themselves by increasing the price of goods. Virtually everybody is doing it. The price of goods is increasing every day. Ramadan comes once every year, and I think people should use this opportunity to atone for their sins and help others. No one knows if you will witness the next Ramadan, so why do you have to increase the prices of goods?
Amiba also agrees that Ramadan is the time the price of goods get increased, urging the government to help them in tackling these challenges.
Goods are very expensive. The price hikes worries us a lot, especially with the women. Every commodity in the market is very expensive today. If the government could help control the prices of goods, it would ease our burdens.
According to Fatou Drame, the surge in prices of goods worries many, particularly the women of this country. She also called on the relevant authorities to help them in controlling the prices in the market.
When Ramadan is approaching, Instead of reducing the prices, they use this holy month to increase the cost of goods. We encounter difficulties during the time of Ramadan. We want Adama Barrow and his government to come to our aid.
Ramadan is the 9th month of Islamic calendar observed by Muslims around the world as one of the 5 pillars of Islam. According to Islamic laws, fasting from sunrise to sunset is obligatory for all Muslim adults, lasting for a period of 29 to 30 days from sighting the crescent moon. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Daisy.
Well, those women vendors at the Latrikunda market, there are concerns, like many of the Gambians, on the recent increase or skyrocketing of price of food commodities in the Gambia. Well, there's more news coming ahead, but for now, we'll take a break and come back shortly with the remaining of the story. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
The pride we take in our brand, the work we put in to constantly change the landscape and elevate real estate in the Gambia, it's compared to none. From inception, our goal was to add value to the beautiful Gambian landscape. That's why we are proud innovators of community estates. Kololi Sands is an exceptional piece of work, tailored for ultimate convenience and luxury, to bring you an element of finesse that is rare but unique in its own. This is also our pride and joy, and we welcome you to the exquisite beauty right here in Kololi and right here on the waterfront. Kololi Sands, feel the ocean breeze at your doorstep.
Welcome back, and this is iAfrica TV, and once again, thanks for joining us. Now, Lamin Jawara, the new ferry services manager at the Gambia Ports Authority, has disclosed some of the plans his administration intends to take to improve ferry services. Mr. Jawara, the former technical director of ferry affairs, was recently appointed to head the ferry services department. He disclosed to Africa TV about some of the plans they intend to execute, such as scheduling departures for ferries from Banjul to Barra. Here's more details of that in this report.
Despite the numerous challenges faced by GPA, the state-owned enterprise has been steadily growing in recent years in terms of the volume of trade it handles. Over the past, the development of the ports of Banjul has been done in various stages, including the ferry landing sites. The new manager of the ferry services, Lamin Jawara, disclosed some of the plans they have in order to improve ferry services in the Gambia. Jawara said one of their priorities is to schedule the departure of ferries from Banjul to Barra, so as to make traveling easy for passengers.
We have increased the ferries operating time from 7 a.m. down to 6 a.m. in the morning. So now you have the first ferry leaving Banjul at 6 a.m. and then the last ferry leaving Barra at 11 p.m. That is to decongest the terminal, so that the longer operating time will allow travelers to stagger their crossing, so that people will not all come and try to cross at the same time. Another thing we are trying to do as of now, which we have started at as a trial, is the ferry departure schedule. Yes, so this departure schedule, we are anticipating that it will be hourly. Like every hour you have a ferry from Banjul.
As the availability of ferries at the terminal is limited, Mr. Jawara said they are working to increase more ferries at the ports to meet the demands of the public.
To increase the availability of the ferries at Banjul, so that we meet the demand at Banjul, because you will realize that even if we are operating the 3 ferries at the same time, we are not able to ferry all the vehicles and the trucks and passengers, and then there is this gap. And in trying to fill that gap, our top priority is to get a new ferry at Banjul Bara.
The Banjul Bara ferry service is one of the Gambia vital economic lifelines and also an essential river crossing to Dakar. The journey time from the terminal and across the mouth of the Gambia River estuary is 35 minutes, and services start from Banjul from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. But with the incoming plans, the closing and departure time of the ferries are expected to change. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Daisy.
The new ferry service manager speaks to iAfrica TV, and from the report by Ndesise, next to South Sudan. Now, South Sudan's government has secured a $174 million loan from the International Monetary Fund to help boost the economy of Africa's youngest nation. According to the country's Apex Bank, the money will be used for budget support to pay salaries, while part of the money will be kept in the bank as blunt support. Civil servants in the North African country have not been receiving their salaries for the past 5 months. Let's have more details of that in this report.
The Bank of South Sudan says it will use the $174.2 million loan to strengthen its monetary policy framework. The bank says the money will be used for budget support to pay salary arrears. It adds that part of the money will remain with the central bank for a balance of payment support.
We import most of the things from outside, and when you import things from outside, exchange rate sensitivities have a major impact on exchange rate, on inflation. So this loan will help us to stabilize the exchange rate. And if we stabilize the exchange rate, then automatically we will stabilize prices.
South Sudan's Apex Bank says the loan will be paid back on a long-term basis without interest. South Sudan's government has not paid salaries for civil servants for 5 months. The central bank says it is working to get its books in order by the end of the next financial year. The government says it is looking for alternative revenue sources to reduce dependence on loans.
We want to start a journey with our taxpayers, improving our services so that they can conveniently pay their taxes.
The central bank also says it is trying to unify the official exchange rate with the market rate. There are currently 3 exchange rates. One is set by the central bank, another by commercial banks, and a third one in the black market.
South Sudan received over $100 million from IMF to help resuscitate the country's economy. Finally, to Egypt next, because following the blockage of the Suez Canal for nearly a week in the Egyptian waters, authorities of the North African country said the ship is not leaving until investigations and compensation arrangements are being finalized. However, experts say the investigations are not meant to determine who is responsible, but rather they want to establish how the grounding took place. The canal lost more than $10 million daily in transit fees during the 6-day blockage period. Let's have more details of that in this report.
Egypt says the ship that blocked the Suez Canal last month will not leave the country until the investigations are over and the compensation agreement is reached. All of the ever-given data logs, captain communication recordings, and mechanical instructions have been retrieved. Experts say the investigations are not designed to determine who is responsible. Rather, they're analyzing how the grounding happened.
However the investigations unfold, marine law states that the ship's captain is responsible. When the canal's guide boards the ship, he becomes part of the captain's crew. Therefore, the company owning the ship, and in turn the insurance companies it contracted, are going to pay the compensation. The investigation's purpose is learning what happened so as to avoid similar incidents in the future.
During the 6-day blockage, the canal lost nearly $15 million daily in transiting fees. The cost of the grounding extends to include tugboats, dredgers and manpower used to float the ship.
There is also the rescue reward, which is a maritime custom. The Suez Canal team was extremely professional in the rescue mission. The ship was saved without any damage to its body or any malfunction, which is rare in such cases. The daily revenues of the Suez Canal are not only from the transiting ships, there are also additional services provided to ships. All of this is being calculated and negotiated with the insurers. No figure has been reached yet.
Litigation could be complex though. The vessel is owned by a Japanese firm, operated by a Taiwanese shipper, flagged in Panama, and was heading to ports in the Netherlands. That could see the ship stay with its cargo for months if the dispute goes to international arbitration. Earlier, the chairman of the Suez Canal Authority, Osama Rabia, said compensations could go over $1 billion. Taking into consideration the financial losses and the cost Egypt paid for the rescue, experts believe the compensation will probably be much less. It's still going to be a decent amount. Expectation is it is going to be a 3-digit figure in millions of dollars.
The Evergreen vessel still stuck at Egypt as investigation are still ongoing. And with that report there from Egypt, we finally bring this news edition to an end. But for more details on this and other stories, as always, as ever, you can visit on our website on africa.tv. But for now, though, many thanks for the privilege of your company. Thanks for watching, stay safe, and bye for now.
Star GSM Electronics. Special Ramadan promotion